Hey guys, in this video we're going to look at the artist pack of Dr. McFarland. Oh wait, that's me. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And what I do on this channel is go over different types of gear, talk about how to incorporate that into your live set, how to use it in the studio, and we also talk about a little bit of music theory and a little bit about recording. So if you haven't done so already, feel free to subscribe down below and click the bell so you'll be notified every time I release new content. So recently I got approached by Headrush to do a How Do You Headrush video, and that was back in February, I think. And I thought to myself, why don't I consolidate some of the best rigs that I have and put them all into one set list and have that available as an artist pack, so that way you guys can download and kind of get a taste of what the Headrush can sound like in different situations, whether you like your amps clean, maybe like a blues sound, or maybe a rock or metal kind of sound. Well, we got lots of different rigs in there for those situations. So what we're going to do is start off with the clean sounds, and I'm going to kind of show you what they are currently, and then I can show you how to alter them a little bit to your liking. So a lot of the times I like to have a compressor on in my signal chain, and just something to kind of keep the volume beefed up and keep all my dynamics nice and smooth. So with no delay or reverb, I'm just going to have the Fender Black Lux Vibe, and the impulse response I'm using is a Tread 4x12 R121 balanced. Okay, this is based off of the Royer 121 ribbon microphone. They're known for having a very smooth top end, and they don't really exaggerate the low end, but they have a nice full low end sound. So I do have the high cut around 5K and the low cut about 120, just to kind of keep everything nice and tight. And I do have the gain at 14. So this is what my clean tone sounds like on a Reverend Warhawk RT. Here it is without the compression. Okay, so you can just kind of hear it beefs up the sound a little bit. Now, if you're downloading this pack and you say to yourself, all right, that sounds really good, but it has a little bit too much low end for me. All right, so there's a few different things we can do. Let's go into the amp first, and let's just take down the bass. Let's take it down all the way. Okay, it definitely smooths out that low end. Let's keep it around 30%. All right, very good. The next area you want to look at is the impulse response itself. Now, these are all impulse responses from the 2.0 update. When you buy your Headrush and you download the latest firmware, you're going to get all these impulse responses included on the unit, and you don't really have to go out and buy all these other impulse responses, because one, there's free ones out there anyway, and then two, the Headrush unit has great impulse responses already included. So let's look at the 414 balanced. And the balance just means they're taking the bright and the dark and they're combining them together. Kind of like you're using like a SM57 and a Royer 121 on the same speaker. One's bright, one's dark, and they're just blending those, okay? So that's what the balance means. Okay, so that's pretty good. And if we want it even brighter, let's go to a 57 balance. All right, so let's go back to our 121. That has a nice full low end, but if you don't want that much low end, you can go to the 57. If you crank that up in a full band mix, you'll be able to cut through pretty well with that. I actually like that sound, so let's go and we're going to save as a new rig. And I'm just going to say Dr. Finn rig, just to kind of shorten it up a little bit. So now anything I do is not going to alter the original rig that I made. Let's kick in a little bit of reverb. And this is just a hall reverb. Set it pretty short. Alright, so we just want a sense of a little bit of space in the room. And the graphic EQ, I kind of took the lead from Jason Roller. He kind of boosted the low end, cut a little bit of upper mids, raised some mids. He lowered the highs about 2 dB. And I do have a 3 dB boost on here. What you want to do with your amplifiers is you basically want to get the tone that you want, and then you adjust the volume after the fact, okay? So if you go in and you feel like, oh, you know, if you go into the output and you see that your rig output is not loud enough, well, yeah, go and boost the volume of the amp. But if that's the tone that you already want, you can either just boost the rig volume, you can boost the volume any other area. You can adjust the gain at the impulse response or graphic EQ, or you can actually go to the rig volume itself. So there's a few different areas where you can adjust that volume as long as you got the tone that you want, okay? So here's my graphic EQ without. And here it is with. Okay, so you can hear that the 2K range that's boosted a little bit there. Let's just make it an even 2. Is adding a little bit more brightness, but it's scooping out some of the lower mids there. Okay, and this mid-range is around, it's about 800 hertz, okay? All right, so that's a good start so far. We also have an amp that is able to have tremolo. So you can see I have the vibrato on right here. And if you don't like the intensity, you just bring it down a little bit. If you want to tuck it away a little bit more in the sound. All right, let's add some delay. Tap it in. All right, cool. Now I do have one overdrive pedal in here, and that is the JRC. And I have the drive up, the tone down, and the level up. So with a clean amp like this, and I want to add a lot more grit than normal, I'm going to bring that drive up a little bit. Alright, and tube screamers work really well with Fender style amps because if you look at the frequency curve of a Fender, it's kind of scooped in the middle. But the tube screamer has a hump around the same area where the amp is scooped. So once you kick in the overdrive, that's going to raise back up that mid-range and just make it cut through a little bit more. So even if we take the drive down and just leave the level up and the high tone where it is, you're still going to get the same tube screamer characteristic, but just without all the gain, all right? So I'm actually going to keep it like that. I'm going to keep the gain down, and this is just going to be for a situation where I want to go from spanky clean, just kind of drive it a little bit. Alright, so that is the Fender amp, and we can do similar things to the other amplifiers as well. Here's a J45 clean. Let's see what that sounds like just straight out of the pack. And once again, we have the R121 balance. But let's just say that's not bright enough for you. Let's go to 57. Alright, so let's save this as a new rig, DRJ45 clean. And you might be asking, why are you changing things around when you've already, this is your artist pack? It's like, well, you just start off with whatever elements that you want, then you can feel free to change them around depending on your situation. So maybe that day I was just feeling a little more 121 dark sounding, and now I want to kind of brighten things up. You can totally go in and do that. So. Okay, and that sounds good overall. I'll keep it like that. We'll save it. Here's the JRC. Same thing, let's pull down the drive. All right, and that's pretty good for that one. So let's save that. Here's the MS30, which is based off of a matchless amplifier. All right, let's kick on the graphic. All right, I like that. Let's keep the impulse response the same on this one. We'll save as a new rig, clean. All right, so if you want to go in, let's say we don't want the JRC. We actually do have a spot here on one of the switches, so let's just add in a black op. We'll do like a low gain kind of thing. All right, sounds pretty good. So now we've got two different options. Let's take that drive down. So let's say I'm on a clean sound. I want to kick in some black op. Then I want to kick in some JRC. All right, that's a good option there. And here's the delay. All right, very good. So let's go to the Bogner. Okay, this amp has a nice smooth characteristic to it. I'm not pushing it too hard. Gain and volume at 60. Here's impulse response. Let's change it to something totally different. Let's go 87 balance. Notice that high end kind of poked out a little bit there because of the different mic. Let's go to 57. Okay, that sounds pretty good. We'll save it. All right, cool. This is the point where I started making my worship rig. So I kind of took this bass tone and then I added more things to it. So let's see what's next. We got the Dock Ambient, which has the Bogner. And you can hear for this one that we still have the 121 on there. We got some shimmer, we got some delay, and we got two different kinds of reverb. So we got short reverb, which is our normal room, and then we have our long reverb. So here it is without the long. All right, I didn't really change anything, but I'm still gonna change the name just to shorten it up. Now, what I love about the Headrush is when you switch between rigs or scenes, you're getting that spillover between each rig. So what you heard there was the nice ambient sound. And then when I swapped over to the next rig, you have that smooth transition. So that's what I love about the Headrush. It's great. All right, so here's some metal rigs. Now you can kind of take this, you know, a few different ways. Here's just the amp, which is a tread plate modern SM57 balanced. So we're still using the same tread, 4x12. All right, let's add in the graphic EQ, see what that does. All right, cool. I'm actually gonna go ahead and save this. All right, if you feel like that has a little too much bass response, we can always go in, we can turn down the bass. All right, kicking in a JRC is always going to help bring in that extra mid-range. All right, very cool. And we got the delay. You always want to make sure you have the input gate down enough to where it doesn't cut off everything. We could probably stand to have the feedback up a little bit more. All right, cool. Let's go to the next one, which is, so this is the M2 lead. This has the most gain out of the Mesa Boogie amps that I feel. Let's bypass the EQ. Still got the 57 balanced. And let's check the bass. Let's turn down the bass a little bit. Alright, so I felt like the bass needed to come down. Alright, let's kick in the JRC without the graphic EQ and see what that does. So the nature of a tube screamer, this is going to help really roll off that low end. So all right, let's kick in the graphic EQ now. I did add in a auto wall because sometimes you don't want to use it with your foot. You just want to kind of use an automated thing. So I'm going to bring in the delay and the air filter. All right, cool. Let's bring in more feedback on that delay once again. Alright, so we save that one. Let's go to our Saldano, which is very similar to the other rig. We just have a different amp, basically. And I'm changing the names because maybe you feel like they're too long. We'll just change them to whatever you want. If you find that you like a certain rig, but you want to use it for your band's original tune, just rename the rig to whatever you want. That's fine. So here's this. Let's make sure that feedback is up more. All right, that sounds pretty good. Here's the cocked one more time. It's just perfect, I think, for having just a little bit of wah pedal in there and not really having to worry about rocking your foot back and forth. Here's a PV5150. Let's turn this stuff off, see what it sounds like. All right, this one actually sounds a little honky to me, which is fine. Let's just mess with some settings here, see what we can do. The other amps definitely have a smoother sound to them. Okay, we don't have any reverb in this one, so let's add in the reverb. Let's go here, and we'll just add in the hall. Turn that down a little bit. This one does have a different impulse response. So let's get back to our, is it the Tangerine? It's a Tread 4x12, and we'll do an SM57. Alright, so now this amp is more in the same vein as the other amplifiers. And that just comes to show you that when you change the impulse response or the cab, you can drastically change the sound. So if you find something that you just don't like, well, just change the impulse response to something else and find something that you do like, alright? So for me, I mean, I don't know why I had that in there, but it's good to kind of A-B things. I mean, let's do the White Moon open back, see what happens. Okay, that sounds really good too. Let's go to the 57. That's not too bad. Let's do the close back. Alright, so I'm not liking that one as much. Let's do the Tangerine 4x12. This is going to have more of a scoop sound, I think. Let's do the 57. Alright, let's just go back to our Tread 4x12. We'll do a 57 on there. So my ears are already getting used to that Tread sound. So I'm just going to keep it like that. Alright, so that's an easy fix. We can adjust the sound that way. Let's turn on the graphic EQ. Alright, turn on the green JRC. Alright, and the air filter. That's fine. I'm going to leave it just like that. Okay? Now we have some blues rigs. And so here's the Tweed blues. And the impulse response I used for this one was the Blues Junior amplifier, basically. Let's see what the 12 balance, let's see what the 57 balance looks like. Go back to 121. Alright, I'm okay with that. That's, you can always roll off the bass a little bit on the amp. So that way we still get the fullness that we want, but we just kind of roll off a little bit of low end there. That sounds good. Let's see what we got here. Let's roll the tone down. Or maybe back up. Let's roll it up a little bit. All right, let's keep it around 80. All right, cool. Let's say, for instance, that you want to add a slap back in there. Let's go in here to a tape echo, and I have a... All right, cool. I like it. And here's the graphic EQ. So it does have a nice boost to the overall sound. Here's a J45 Blues. Once again, we got the, let's do this one, a 57. Dr. J45 Blues. Now in this rig we have a white boost, so that's going to raise the volume a little bit after the amp. Alright, that works for me. We'll save that. And the fuzz blues. Now this one has the tri-fuzz in there, which is basically like your big muff. And I do have some green JRC in there and also a chord wham. So I put that in there just maybe for a hint of octaver kind of stuff. Chord wham. Maybe kick it over to your neck pickup. Alright, but if you just want to keep it simple, let's just do the tri-fuzz. Let's make the tone kind of bright. Kick in the tube screamer before it. Let's do a little graphic EQ. So the graphic EQ is definitely helping to shape the overall sound. cool. I'm gonna keep things like this. All right, now we're gonna get to the last rig, which is the worship rig. And I see some people asking about what worship music is, especially, you know, music in a church setting. But in the modern age that we're in, we have a lot of, you know, reverb, delay, bass kind of guitar parts. And I think that probably stems from the U2 sound. I think some people might argue with that, but you know, a lot of people have that influence of the Edge, having the dotted eighth delay, a lot of reverb, a lot of like shimmer kind of sounds. So this is what this rig is basically acting as. And if you're seeing the original rig versus the one I have in here, I have already altered this. So let me name this something different, just to kind of shorten the name a little bit. And what I have is 3 different scenes. So I have a clean scene that's just gonna have a Wagner amp with my 121 balanced tread plate, or tread 4x12, and a compressor. And I've basically been using this rig for the last month or so while playing in the church service, and it sounds great coming through the house and also through my FR 108. So. All right, so the gallop is going to add in a second delay. And this is what that sounds like if I tap in my tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. And see, there you go, I already started doing the U2 thing. So let's do some Lincoln Brewster. So there you go, you just have a nice gallop kind of sound. And then for the swell, that one's gonna kick in some long verb, some shimmer, and you know, both delays at the same time. So, and also an auto swell sound. All right, that sounds really nice. Now, the cool thing about these scenes is they have a no change option for the overdrives. So if I already have a JRC in there and I go to a gallop, it's not gonna turn that JRC off. It's gonna stay within the rig until I turn it back off, okay? I did that intentionally just so I could keep 3 scenes and still have the other options to be like, all right, I wanna be on the gallop, but I also wanna have the shimmer on, okay? All right, now I did add, instead of the white boost that was in there, I added the JRC and the DC distort. Here's the DC distort. And with the JRC. All right, and there you go. So I hope when you download this artist pack, it gives you a good foundation to start building your own rigs. So just take any of the clean, the blues, the metal, or even the ambient style rigs and just kind of make them your own, okay? If you like a certain sound or a certain overdrive, just add those in there, move things around wherever you want. But at least it gives you a good foundation to build your own rigs. So once again, if you have not subscribed already, feel free to do that down below and click the bell icon so you'll be notified every time I release new content. And if you want to be a more confident musician and join a community where you can learn more about music theory, gear, and recording, feel free to check out the links down in the description and go to my website where you can look around, kind of see what's available, and you can sign up for unlimited access. So you pay once and you can get all the content that's available now and in the foreseeable future for one low price. So thanks again for watching. I am Dr. McFarland. I will see you in the next video. Keep rocking.